and welcome to the Business Growth Show, where we talk about all components of business and how to utilize them for exponential growth. My name is Athin. I'm a business growth expert who help business owners grow and scale to create wealth and freedom. Today, I have an awesome guest. Her name is Linda Duong, and she is a visionary leader whose journey reads like a captivating tale of dreams turned reality. And every dream she sets her sights on has come to fruition, a true testament to her unwavering commitment to making dreams come to life. And she's all about action, firmly believing that action equals results. Living by this mantra, she paints not only her self-portrait, which took out the position of a finalist at the Women's Art Prize on the theme of equality, but a picture of a life dedicated to the pursuit of her own dreams, a philosophy ingrained in her day-to-day. She dove headfirst into real-life experiences before penning her transformative book, Connection, The Currency to Happiness. Access your happiness right here, right now. It's not just a bestseller, it's #1 in Australia, Canada, the UK, and 5th in the USA. As a result, Dr. Linda was inducted into the International Bestselling Author Organization, and Dr. Linda's authentic presence in a documentary not only earned the film 24 global awards, she also received 4 other invitations to bring her story to the big screen, an invitation she's yet to accept. Dr. Linda Duong is the brain behind 3 Hearts, Coachable, and Link Coaching, and through these endeavors, she radiates warmth, sophistication, and an unwavering commitment to enriching lives. Welcome, Linda Duong, and thank you for being on my show.
Thank you so much for the invitation. It's just so lovely to be able to connect with home, with home hosts. Like I said, normally I'm always on the American shows, so this feels so heartwarming. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're very welcome, Linda. I'm sure it's going to be great, on the show today with what you're going to share with us. And I love interviewing fellow Aussies as well. It's going to be great, I'm sure, for everyone watching and listening. So first, you're a successful entrepreneur. So for those people who don't know who you are, just please introduce yourself by telling us a bit more about you and your journey.
Yeah, sure. I would love to. Perhaps it would be easier if I share some photos. I just thought, the photo speaks 1,000 words, right?
Yeah, definitely. We've got video here as well. So definitely
Sure.
bring those up and love to, take us through them, audio wise as well as visual wise.
Sure. Now, can everybody see my screen yet?
I don't think it's come up yet. So
Oh, okay. Okay, let me share again.
it's all right.
Yeah.
Should hopefully make it happen in a moment. So here we
go.
go.
Yeah, great.
Now it's coming up now, Linda. The floor is yours.
Cool. Okay. So just a very quick background of what I do, because I just thought it's easier as you see the few logos. I was always helping people my whole life, except I never knew it was called life coaching until I discovered it. So then I flew to America to be trained as a professional life coach. So I started Link Coaching in 2016 as a parenting coach for the gifted kids. So very specialized, very specialized. Very soon, same year, I wrote a book. I wrote a book initially just for my children because of my journey with my senior dad, who I had to relocate to the nursing home. And I just realized that my mom was no longer here to nurse him. And so I thought I will write the book to connect my kids with this incredible grandma who lost her own mother at the age of 8. And yet she was able to raise 10 kids. I'm one of the last 2 in the 10 kids, right? I didn't have anything. I was really timid and shy when I was little. I barely talked. I didn't even have color pencils. And yet I was able to achieve every single dream I had so far. And I'll share some photos in a minute. And so in awe of gratitude, I just thought I just have to connect grandma with the kids. That's all I wanted to do. But after I wrote the first chapter, I heard on the news and in a Facebook group that 2 kids who took their own life due to cyberbullying. And I just felt so sad. I just could not stop my tears, even though I didn't know these children. And I just felt compelled to share the book. I just thought it can't just be for my children. And so that sets up the whole journey. And as soon as I decided to share the book, the vision of Three Hearts Camp, I think very visually. I just imagine that if we have Three Hearts connection hubs all around the world for people to connect, a safe space for people to share, these two children might still be here. And so with that compelling feeling, I launched Three Hearts in September 2019 in Sydney. And very soon, 4 months later, I launched it in Ohio, in America, with a friend's help, with an ambassador's help. And then March 2020, COVID hit, we brought it onto Zoom like this and extended to friends in Europe. And we literally had transformed lives, especially during COVID when everyone needed connection. And so I did this all out of my altruition, out of compassion. I didn't know anything about worldly statistics or anything like that. But through the 4 years journey on Three Hearts journey, I discovered that over 300 million people are suffering from depression, according to the World Health Organizations. And as I go towards, after COVID, I also discovered that a number of my coach friends who were used to go to in-person networking to get clients as coaches, they could no longer get clients because of COVID. And they had to go back to a 9-to-5 job. And that saddened me so much because as coaches, we help others to achieve their goals and dreams. And here they are, they had to go back to a 9-to-5 job, a job that they weren't exactly their dream. And at the same time, I also learned through Three Hearts journey that 72% of entrepreneurs have self-reported with mental health concerns. And so once again, I couldn't do nothing. So I took action and launched Coachable. Coachable is a platform for coaches to list their offers so that they can, reach worldwide audiences. And so those are the 4 business I run at the moment. I hope it's not too much, not confusing, but they all serve the same purpose. They all help us to be a better version of ourselves each day. And I should have warned everybody before I clicked to this image. That's because I consider it the most embarrassing photo on planet Earth. Like, who would still have the pacifier at this age, right? Nearly 5 years old. But that's me, as you could see. As young as I was already a thinker. I was always thinking, with my frowning forehead and hand on holding my forehead. This is the only photo I've got left. So I was born at the end of the Vietnam War. I didn't have anything much. Like I said, not even color pencils. I grew up with black and white TV, black and white photos. Never seen what a computer looked like before I came to Australia at the age of 15. Never speak a word of English. So I'm going to share a few photos and just fast track it so we can get on today's conversation. But basically, I have been blessed to be able to achieve every single dream I had so far. Touch wood that I continue. But largely from here on, ever since I published the book, the dream that I'm achieving is actually for everybody, no longer just for myself, because my personal dreams, I have achieved them all so far. So the first one is my bridal boutique in Sydney in 2001, 23 years ago. So as you could see, when I was little, I didn't even have a dress. And like all girls do, all we want is a pretty dress. And with that sit in my head, I studied fashion design after I graduated school in Sydney and eventually opened my bridal boutique. I designed literally everything. The logo, the floorboard, everything, the logo of the shop, the boutique. My designs were featured in wedding magazines and I won awards. So that's number 1. Number 2, I traveled the world because I never knew what outside world was like. I didn't have color TV. I didn't have YouTube. I didn't even have world map or globe model, a model of the globe. I just knew nothing. So I would literally sit and daydream every day. What's America like? What's Australia like? So eventually I traveled the world. I've been to Alaska 25 years ago. As you can see, these kids wearing singlets. It's like the warmest day of the year. And I was like in my parkas. I was so cold and freezing. That day, it was incredible. I used almost all kinds of transportation It started like 3 a.m. I woke up 4 a.m. I got in the bus. Then we get to another place, got on a little ferry, a little boat, helicopter, plane, motorbike, all forms of transportations to get to this place where the Eskimos are. And I literally crossed the Arctic Circle. It was just so amazing. And so when I was little, moving on, this is my dream number 3, early childhood dream number 3. When I was little in my kindergarten year and the first grade, I got scared by the teacher because, you know, if anybody from that age would resonate, right? That the teacher holds a cane. And I got so scared, I didn't learn anything until I was in about grade 3. A kind teacher come into the class and I go, "Oh, that's how a teacher's supposed to be." And I wouldn't mind to be like that to help others to learn. So after I have children, I studied primary teaching. After that, wherever you want Linda, she's there and she's teaching. Here, I use hand embroidery to teach children in Sydney school. I teach self-empowerment with hand embroidery, and you would not believe it. The boys were the one who couldn't wait to start it. And look at him here. He's like mind-blowing. And I never knew letter work, but when I was invited to teach the seniors, I would fast track myself. In 2 weeks' time, I would learn how to do that. I mean, I had a teacher to teach me, but like whatever I'm on, I would be in action and not fast enough. And so when I came to Sydney, Australia, this is my dream number 4. I didn't have color pencils, right? So when I came to Sydney, Australia, I was like, oh my goodness, what is this? When it's the first time I've been to an art gallery, I'm like, oh my goodness, I was mesmerized. And so in my high school year, in the weekend, I would go to the art gallery and my friends would think it's so boring. I would still go by myself. So eventually I studied Diploma of Visual Arts. This is my first piece at the exhibition. It got selected as the main piece, very humbling. And then I participated more and I won awards. And here I won more awards. And here is my self-portrait in 2016 that, as you mentioned, selected for the finalist as the Women's Art Prize on the theme of equality. And that's my book. With my book, it was bound to happen, even though I wrote it with a different reason for my children, to connect with grandma. But when I had my bridal shop, I was always helping people. Even before the bridal shop in the travel industry, I was always helping people. And then they would always say, Linda, you should write a book. So one day the book happened. And this is the Top Authors magazine. It's really humbling. It was a surprise that I was featured. So I'm going to move on to cut short so we can get to the conversation. This is my keynote speech that I get invited to speak. So this is a certificate for people who can't see the picture, a certificate acknowledging my contribution that from the book's proceeds. This is before COVID. I have helped over 1,000 students in Uganda and 120 teachers over there. Now, if I could pause for a second and to share this, because it's been really humbling. I was born at the end of the Vietnam War. I didn't have anything much. I did not know a word of English. But here, if you think about it, one teacher's lifetime could impact so many students. But here I was able to help, well, together with my friends who bought my book, we are able to help over 120 teachers. So it's really, really humbling. And this is just one school. I've been, working with other schools and other projects. This is at the World Congress Positive Psychology in 2019 in Melbourne. Very, very humbling. At this epic conference, 1,600 scholars, they all scholars and PhDs. The whole conference theme is connection. Every scientist was telling me that they spent over 30 years to study the subject connection and happiness. Every single lecture you go to, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, every single lecture you go to, it was that topic. And I was the only one holding the book, published the book, Connection, the Currency to Happiness. It was so humbling. And this is Dr. Martin Seligman, the founder of positive psychology. It was just incredible journey. This was another dream come true. because all my life I was drawn to psychology, but there was just something about psychology that I didn't feel at ease. Something heavy about psychology, but I wasn't sure what it is until one day I come across his work, and I thought, this is what it is. I feel resonating because, I'm all about joyful. I'm all about positivity. I didn't know there was a branch of psychology called positive psychology. So I was so excited. And I said, one day I want to meet Dr. Martin Seligman. And at the time I said, I don't want to read his book yet because I want to write my own book without his influence. With all respect, this is just me, because we can't unlearn something that we learn, right? So I thought I didn't want it to be influenced. I just want to write my story first. And that's what happened. And after I write my book, I said, I just so wish that I would meet him one day. And I thought I would have to fly to America to meet him. But amazingly, he came to Australia.
Nice.
So that was another dream come true. It was epic. This is me in San Diego in 2017, in a room of 400 social conscious entrepreneurs from around the world, from 32 countries. It was very, very humbling. I've been to Mexico speaking. This is in Sydney, like different events. And this is the philosophy of Three Hearts. Basically, Three Hearts stands for love and connection for yourself, love and connection for each other, and love and connection for the universe. Three Hearts has a really, really important message. The message is, if we all practice Three Hearts more, not only we become happier, but we literally have the access and the power to world peace. How? Why? That's because when we are having more love and connection to ourselves, right? When we truly, truly love and connect to ourselves, we are more at ease with ourselves, right? We have more compassion. We're more comfortable in our skin, so to speak, right? And when that happens, then we can relate to other people easier. Isn't it true? Right? When we can relate to other people easier, we have less conflict, less biases, less judgment. All of that will allow us to accept others better. And that will bridges all kinds of cultures, ethnicity, everything, right? All forms of division. And that would take away all kinds of division, any kind of racism, right? And with that alone, we can have a lot of peace already in the nation, in the world, right? On top of that, the message is for us all to live and lead with love and compassion. If all the leaders do that, there's no way we could have war. I mean, I don't understand how I could have gone through the country where we have 30 years long war. How could that happen? I don't understand. So every single night I was on my knees with my incredible mom praying for world peace. So this Three Hearts philosophy, it's me in my DNA. I grew up with it. It's only now that I share with the world. Because, sometimes I think even if given we stop all the wars in the world, yeah? Even we stop all the wars in the world, we would have a war in our head, a war in our heart, when we're not at peace with ourselves, when we don't have full love and connection with ourselves, when we don't fully embrace ourselves, right? We will be still self-judgmental, self-critiquing. And then when it's like all kinds of emotions happen. And then there's a war at home, there's a war in neighbor. There's like truly, if we truly embrace Three Hearts, love and connection for ourselves, love and connection for each other, and love and connection for the universe, that's the love for animal, the love for the environment, all of those, we truly have access and power to world peace. That's my true belief. And so that's why I wanted to take a moment to share that. This is our Three Hearts community members. We have amazing leaders in our community. It's a global community. Barbara is a glass artist. She's incredible. She has her artwork in the White House, right? But she said, Linda, all my life, tell me what to do, tell me what to achieve, I get it done. But I never had a chance to learn about myself until I come to Three Hearts. And Three Hearts has challenged me to be more than what I thought I could. So it's been incredible. Here's another medal for the book, which is really humbling because considering I didn't know a word of English, This is the documentary that you mentioned before. And this is me being named the Changemaker of the Year last year. So these are just the few accolades that I just want to share a little bit. And mainly in my book, I have many quotes, but this is the one message that I like to remind everyone often these days. And that is to never, ever underestimate the power in you. Because if you look at this photo, look at this black and white photo of this little girl, you wouldn't know what she could do. But humbly, many lives has transformed through her journey of hard work and facing adversity, embracing diversity, and all of those. So just never, never underestimate the power in you. If you're listening, if there's anything that's holding you back, just know that you have the permission to go forth and just do what you want to do, and just embrace yourself and keep believing in yourself. Growing up, I was told you are so sensitive. That was my flaw. I cry so easily, right? I cry so easily. I see someone in a wheelchair, I almost like was in tears already. And I didn't know what it was. And so when I was told that you're just too sensitive, it given me the wrong impression, wrong identity that I'm just really weak. And that's what I grew up with until I had my children, until I studied gifted education. Then I learned that that's one of my gifts, is that I have surplus emotions. And that's when I was able to embrace my gift and be face full on who I am. This is just me. I cry easily, that's fine. I finally accept it. I mean, now I'm a lot better. Even especially during COVID, every single meeting, you see me laugh and cry at the same time. I just have this surplus in emotions. And because I embraced it, when I felt so sad for those two children, when I couldn't stop crying, I felt compelled to share the book. It's given me the permission and the power to just go and do it. I no longer worry about what people think of me, what they judge of me. I just know that that's me. It's just me. And I embraced it and I accepted it. And so really, if you're listening, if you're watching, if there's something you want to do, just back yourself. Because if we don't back ourselves, no one's going to back us, right? But I'm here to back you. Okay, I'm here to support you. I'm here to give you the permission and the support to say, just go forth and do what you want to do, achieve what you want to achieve, because we all are capable. We all are capable. And now, especially now, there's so much resources compared to where I came from. And so truly, from the bottom of my heart, never, ever underestimate the power in you. And this last picture is my NFT. I was invited to a metaverse conference in 2021. In this conference were all IT experts from around the world. I was invited by a professor in Washington, D.C. Very, very humbling. I was the non-IT person, but because of my passion for change, my passion for innovation, my passion for children and education, I was able to add value to the conference. And as a token of appreciation, I received this gift. It was so beautiful. Dr. Alexander was really excited. Linda, we're going to make your figurine. We're going to get you on Netflix and and all of those. It was really, really humbling. So that's the story. I'm going to stop sharing now of the photos, and we can get on to the conversation of today.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting me share.
Yeah, it's all good, Linda. Thanks for sharing all that, and nice to hear the story and get the visuals. And I'm sure there's a lot of inspiration there, right, for a lot of people that wanting to create their dreams. So on that, like, I think if I think about people that have dreams and maybe they haven't achieved them like you have, right, in those elements there's something holding them back, right? Now, whether this is conscious, unconscious, maybe something's there that they just need to adjust, right? Like there. So what things do you think that, you could help people with today, or bring something to their awareness so that they could, move forward to taking that action, right? To achieving their dreams?
Such a great question. I'm going to share with you a technique that I shared the first time in the positive psychology world. Okay. Now, everybody, if you're watching or if you're listening, or not if you're driving, if you're driving, don't do it. You need two hands on the wheel. But if you're not driving, do it with us, okay? Especially if you're watching with the visual. I'm going to share with you my tips of catch, park, and flip. To answer your question, why is it that someone can't go forth and achieve what they want to achieve? It's the self-dialogue, okay? Our self-dialogue is so important. Often we will have an idea, right? Oh, you know, I want to write a book, for example. I could have easily say, who am I to write a book, right? Growing up here, I was told your English writing is terrible. Your grammar is horrible, right? That's easy enough for me to say, forget it. You know, there's no way I could do it, right? I could have go and say, my English is no good. Who am I to teach? Blah, 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 all of those. But what happened now in reality is my book has transformed lives. Many readers have become published authors just from reading my book. So our self-dialogue is very, very important. So whenever you have a dialogue that is not serving you, this is what I like to share, okay? This is what I like to share with you. First of all, whenever there's a negative talk, what you do is you catch. So if you're watching with me, if you can do your hand gestures, just literally do it, because your actions will anchor your learning and will you remember a lot more. So imagine a thought comes to your mind and you catch it. Would you do it with me, Athin?
Yeah, definitely. I can do
Yeah.
it.
So you catch it, right? Step number one is you catch that thought. When you have a negative thought, you catch it straight away. And what you say, okay, I hear you. I'm aware of this thought, so I just catch it. The next thing is that I am going to park it, right? So you literally park it. By doing this, the hand is like almost like a stop sign, isn't it? Okay, stop. I'm going to park you now. I'm going to park this thought now. You know, imagine like you going to a shopping center, right? You park your car before you go to the shopping, right? Because you know where you park it. You know where you come back. You're not worried about the car being lost. Being a human is really interesting. We have this thing called attachment, right? We are attached to our thoughts and emotions. If you think about something and I'll tell you, don't think, you cannot think, especially when it's something bothers you, right? If I say, stop it, don't think, the more I tell you stop, the more you think. True? That's why we park it. So you catch the thought and you park it. You're letting yourself know that, okay, I hear this thought, I will attend to it later. You park it aside. By doing so, you're detaching that emotion of it nagging you, don't do it, or you can't do it, all those fear emotions, you're parking it. Not only that, it's an interruption of the chain of thoughts so that you don't get caught into a downward spiral. So you interrupt that thought and you park it so that it doesn't attack you continuously coming at you. Step number 3 is you flip it. So you do your hand and you flip it. Now, this is imagining like a flipping the switch. Okay, this is how I teach my children. All my methods are very simple. Okay, and I'll tell you why that is. So you just switch it. Imagine you go into a room, before you put the lights on, it's all dark, right? But the minute you switch the light, you flip it, your whole room's brighter. That's the same with our brain, right? When you're thinking negative thoughts, it is really miserable. You know, you could really go downward spiral very quickly. I'm not good at this. How can I do this? There's no way I could do this. Blah, 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 blah. It goes on, right? But by catching it, park it, and flip it, by challenging it, you flip it by challenging it. Really, I'm no good. Really, okay. How am I no good? So my grandma is no good. Okay, then I'm gonna learn, right? Someone told me my grandma is terrible. Okay, I'm gonna learn. Oh, it's too hard to learn. Really, let me try. So each step of the way, you back yourself. Each step of the way, you challenge that negative thought with a positive one. For example, oh, I was never good at that. Really? Is it really never, or was it just once or twice? So you bring yourself back to reality to have the real check. You know, oh, I was never good at something. Well, but that's because you haven't learned. So that's why you were never good. How about we learn it now? So that's how you do it. So let me summarize again. The 3-step is catch the negative thought and then park it. By parking it, we're detaching the emotion so that it doesn't continue, and we're breaking the pattern. And then we flip it from negative to positive by changing the thought each step of the way, by lifting ourselves. And that's how you back yourself. You lift yourself each time, each step of the way. Does that help?
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Linda, for that. I love processes like that that make it simple for people. And yeah, break that pattern, in what they're doing, which I think is important. And I did a lot of that growing up, and it's funny from having a lot of negative thoughts to then having mostly positive thoughts, right? Is you sort of restrict yourself over time once your brain starts getting used to this as well. So I loved your process there that you shared with us. Let's talk now more about the head and the heart. I think is an important topic here, because I know you've got your three hearts that you talk about, and connection and all of that. And the head is important as well in certain things too. But sometimes people might not necessarily be focusing on their heart, or either of them, or even together, right, in that way. So I'd love to know your thoughts around the head and the heart individually as well as combined, and how we can be more aligned as people, and what that will help us to do in our life and business.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you. You asked amazing questions. I'm loving this.
Welcome.
I just want to touch back on one note before we go on this one. When I said earlier, all my processes are very simple. That's because, as you could see from my background, when I was born at the end of the Vietnam War, I didn't have much resources, right? I didn't have all of these worldly knowledge or resources. So everything was very basic, simply. So therefore, I was able to become very creative, and I was able to come up with very simple ways of functioning, of making it work. The book is all about how to make things work when things don't work really. And so that's why everything I do is super simple. Even Three Hearts is so simple, but have such powerful message. So if anyone work with me, you just know I'm super, super simple. I just want to say that. So in terms of the head and the heart, when we think about it as a separate organ, it is separate, but to me, it's not. To me, it's one. Otherwise, I wouldn't be who I am. I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be able to achieve every single thing, because we're one human being, right? We are one, as in from our head to our toe. We are one item. So to me, it's no separation. And I think a lot of people growing up learning to use our IQs, to use our intellectual thinking process, the thoughts, right? So that's why we feel like it's separate. And then our heart is, we refer our heart to as in feeling the emotions. So we feel as if it's separate. But when you acknowledge your emotions often, you will realize that it's very connected with your thoughts. And your thoughts are from your brain. And so therefore, there is no separate two items. It's really one. And what makes it more into one item is this thing called intuition. So the reason why I'm able to achieve every single dream I have so far is because I follow my intuition very closely. And that is all about, I know it sounds fancy. I know a lot of people don't like the word intuition. It's just like too complicated. Basically, all it is that I'm inviting you to tune in with yourself more. Just pay attention to yourself more, instead of thinking about the thoughts, but really about how you feel. What it means is that if we are aware of how we feel, we have more awareness. When we have more awareness, it actually helps us to think better. I share the term meta connection. It's about thinking about your thinking, right? If you're not aware of how you feel, you would not tune into your thought process. And when we are aware of our feelings, we are also able to being aware of others' feelings. And so that builds harmony better. And coming back without mind, if you pay attention to your emotions, you will naturally check in with your thought. I'm feeling agitated. I'm feeling not comfortable. But why? What causes that? Then you're able to connect with the brain process, with the thought process. And in that way, you're able to visit your thoughts, check back with your feeling, and it goes in a cycle, right? And that way you can keep it together as a whole. And in that way, you're able to be so much wiser, so much smarter and cleverer, if I could use that word. I always tell my children, think about what you're doing will make you smarter. That is my simplest way of teaching mindfulness, being in the present moment. Because if you think about what you're doing, you literally become smarter. For example, I want to write a book, but I'm not good at it. My English is no good, right? Now, I could just easily say, oh yeah, that's it, forget it, right? But I check in with my emotions. How does that make me feel? When someone tells me that your English is no good, your grammar is terrible, how does that sit with me? It didn't sit well. It didn't sit well. It makes me feel incapable. It makes me feel little, right? It makes me feel like I'm not equal as everybody because I'm not as good. So I don't feel good about it. What do I want to do with it? That's the brain now, right? I don't feel good. It's the heart. What do I do about it? That's my brain thinking. So you check in with the whole process, right? What can I do about it? I will practice. I will learn. I will put in more hard work. I will look for courses if I have to. So that's how you do it. That's how you check in from your mind and your heart. And when you do that regularly all the time, you really become so much wiser because you would become really resourceful. You will be able to counteract almost any negative or any challenges or any obstacles you have. And that's just how you roll about life. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I love
Sorry,
it.
it's a little bit
Yeah.
longer.
No, that's all good. Thank you, Linda. It's always nice. And yeah, I think, intuition and, other words can be instincts or gut feelings. What people use is important, right? To make better decisions because we know at that deeper level, right, of what's going on there. So yeah, a lot of great value. And I guess one thing I wanted to ask as well, because I see different views on this. I'd love to hear your view about focusing on one thing versus multiple things, right? Like having one dream at a time or multiple dreams at a time in this example, right? In terms of what you do, like, what are your thoughts on this and how we're focused on this to create that, into our lives and achieving those dreams?
You ask amazing questions. I'm loving this. We could go on forever. We could go on forever.
That's
So
it.
I share that in the book too. I share in the book about multitasking, right? We grow up in the, I don't know, 80s, 90s, the trend, year 2000, we were taught like multitasking, you can achieve more. Well, it's true and not true, right? There are times we multitask, like when we were driving a car, we could be talking to our kids, right? Or moms could be cooking and still carrying a baby because I did that before, right? But in terms of your brain capacity and in terms of projects, at work, in terms of big goals, I truly believe that you can work on multiple projects, which I do often. And as entrepreneurs, we never just have one project. But the critical part is your focus at one given moment in time. If you were to say, I'm working on this project and that project all simultaneously, it is very easy to miss something. Now, don't get me wrong. There are many jobs that require us to multitask. So I'm not being picky. Just bear with me. I'm not being judgmental at all. But to answer the question more clearly referring to business, let's say, okay, work projects, let's say, right? What I do is that I can work on multiple projects. However, when I'm working on this particular project, my mind is only on this particular project. And that is dedication and commitment. Dedication and commitment. In other words, it's being in the present moment, full on, right? Now, I used to say to people, especially when I had my bridal shop, I used to say to people, I work 110%. Well, I wasn't. I was crazy. I was like 200%. Like whatever I work on, my attention and energy and focus is 200% on that particular moment in time. It's like I'm talking to you now. I'm not thinking about my kids. I'm not thinking about cooking. I'm not thinking about another client. in front of me, there's just you and your audiences. That's where my intention and focus and energy is, and where my heart is. That's the secret for me. That's what it is. In order to honor the quality of your work, the project, that people entrust you. If you were at a 9-to-5 job, your bosses trust you to deliver on time, right? And if your mind was everywhere, you're gonna miss the deadline, or you might meet the deadline, but the quality will be different. On top of that, your engagement to the task is different, and therefore it lessens your joy factor. When we immerse ourselves into one particular task, it's bliss. For me, it is. When you fully immerse yourself into that one particular task, it's a blessing. It's a blessing. You get to learn better. You get to absorb better. You get to enjoy it. You get to exuberate your passion into that project. And that's how you get to say, when you love your work, it's never a work day. It's always play and joy, because that's what it is for me. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah,
Sorry,
definitely.
I have such long answers. I don't
It's
have
all good,
one
Linda.
sentence
That's
answer.
it's a great way. I think you shared a lot of gold there. I love that. With the focus, as well as enjoying it, like you said in that moment, which is really powerful. And you shared I guess so much gold with us here today, which has been very powerful. And I guess as we're starting to wrap up, what one key piece of advice would you like to give to all the entrepreneurs watching and listening today?
For entrepreneurs specifically, action equates results. Action, action, action. Build on your momentum. Whenever you have an idea, an inspiration, whenever anybody gives you an opportunity, unless it doesn't align with your value, if it does, grab it with both hands. Grab it, take action there and then. Don't leave, don't wait, don't think. The minute you leave it, the inspiration goes out the window, your energy is different. The motivation, the inspiration. I always act on inspirations instead of just motivation. It's completely different. Your energy, your drive, your spirit level is completely different. So on your journey on entrepreneurship, tap into your spirit level, not just physical energy, but the spiritual level. It takes you so much further. And always action, build on the momentum. Each step of the way will lead you to the next step, and it's like a ladder, so that's what I will have to say.
Yeah,
But
lovely.
always tap into yourself, tap into the core of who you are, know your value, and go from there.
I love that. Definitely building momentum is so important among what you've shared with us. And we connected, through our networks. I learned about your awesome journey from your unique childhood to then creating, your dreams into reality. Amazing woman, very knowledgeable, and I'm sure you continue to help people achieve their early childhood dreams and what they're wanting to in their life as well. And very grateful that we connected, Linda, and I look forward to working with you. So, Linda, how can people find you and get in contact with you?
Yes, so you can come to my website, Linda Duong lindaduong.com.au. My email address is linda@lindaduong, DUONG, linda@lindaduong.com.au. You can find me on Facebook, on LinkedIn. So we can connect. Yes.
Awesome. Definitely check out Linda there on website, email, Facebook, LinkedIn, all those sources if you're wanting to learn more and enhance those dreams in what you're doing. And it's been a pleasure interviewing you, Linda. Thanks for being on my show.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. There is one more platform, Coachable. Coachable, as you can see on my banner here, is spelled COA, with friends who don't see the video, COACH with a J, Coachable. Coachable.com. Okay, COACHJABLE, coachable.com. It's a platform for all the coaches. And if you're not coaches and you want to look for coaches, come there as well. So the word coachable emphasizes that everyone is coachable. We're all coachable. That's how we have the open mindset, the growth mindset, because life is an evolving journey. Thank you so much once again for having me.
Thank you everyone for watching and listening to this show where we talk about everything on business growth. And please like, subscribe, and leave us a 5-star review. You can find me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube as Athin Cassiotis, or visit my website, athincassiotis.com. If you want to grow and scale your business, you can reach out to me on any platform to see if we're a good fit. I completely agree with you, or do I? The only way you know is if you tune in next time. So until next time, remember that our business grows when we learn skills and take action using them in spite of fear. So remember to design your growth and results.